And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show, always helping you win in any marketplace. That's our goal. We want to make you more informed as a consumer out there, help you understand your buying decisions, make you more street smart, and kind of stay ahead of the curve out there with different news and information that you may hear from the mainstream media. So the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We always like to feature our real estate listings, but we do have a great lineup for you today as well. We've got Brent Shiver making his debut on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Wildout Animal and Pest Removal on the show, as well as Kurt Kennedy. He's a loan originator with Keller Mortgage. Keller Mortgage with the Consumer Quarterback Show. Kurt's going to be making his debut as well today on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Feel good story of the day. Also, really cool story here. And a shout out to all of our veterans out there. Marine vet gifted with new vehicle to resume his service to disabled veterans and children. Feel good story of the day coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Before we do, we like to feature our listings live on air. We help our sellers profit more and sell faster, utilizing our innovations with radio, TV, and internet marketing. 37351 Neighbors Path in Zephyr Hills. This is a great opportunity. Beautiful home in Pasco County, Zephyr Hills. You've got almost 3,500 square feet, mother-in-law suite. You have an open concept floor plan, large yard, which is 1.2 acres, over an acre of land, 6 bedrooms, 4.5 bath, stone counters, and a great opportunity right here in beautiful Tampa Bay at 37351 Neighbors Path, Zephyr Hills, Florida, Pasco County. Great opportunity for real estate investment here in Tampa Bay. 7014 Crown Lake Drive. Here's another home. We got a single-family home here on Crown Lake Drive. This one is in Gibsonton, Hillsborough County. Almost 1,752 square feet. Gorgeous staircase. You got no CD and a low HOA, Homeowners Association. New AC unit. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, granite counters, beautiful flooring, stairwell as well. 7014 Crown Lake Drive in Gibsonton, Florida. And you can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right. Welcome in, Brent Shiver. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming in. Wildout Animal and Pest Control. So let's start with a little bit about your background, man. Who you are, what you do.
Well, I've been in the business for about 13 years now. I started with one of the big guys and got some good training there. Worked there for 10 years before I decided to step out and launch my own business in the Central Florida market.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Slide right up on that mic there. So, so you wild out animal and pest removal. It's, especially during seasonal, like there's different seasons, right, to
Sure.
this thing. And tell us a little bit about what you're seeing effective like this time of year. Is it cooling off? Is it kind of a different season for different animals and critters?
Yeah. We have a little bit less of that in Florida than they do in other parts of the country, obviously, because we just don't have as much as far as seasons go. But a lot of our seasons are based around extreme heat and not so extreme heat. So we're getting to that not so extreme heat time now, where a lot of the stuff that likes to live in people's attics and that kind of stuff are starting to invade. So bats and rats and squirrels, raccoons, that kind of stuff. So.
Right. Yeah. So you see that in the seasonal, and then also with the precipitation, right? The rain.
Yeah. So a lot of mosquitoes all year round. But, and what's kind of funny is right now is not really the heavy mosquito time. But this is probably the best time to start mosquito treatments because it's not the time. You can get ahead of the population before they really jump off in March and April when it warms up again.
Well, how do you do that? Are you treating like the water areas where water would accumulate?
Yeah, we have a very interesting and revolutionary system we use that actually traps the mosquitoes, and it's focused on the Aedes mosquitoes, which are the ones that like to bite you during the daytime. So those are the ones that most people are most concerned about. They also carry the West Nile virus and some of the diseases that we're really looking for in mosquitoes. But this system allows the mother mosquito to come and lay her eggs. The eggs will hatch within the trap, but they'll never turn into adults. So that they get stuck in that nymphal stage. They also will take what's in that trap and take it to other sites, breeding sites, and it'll infect those sites as well. So it's a pretty cool system. It's not perfect, but when it comes to mosquitoes, especially in Florida, there is no perfect system. But it's very effective, and it doesn't kill other stuff. So if you're concerned about honeybees, other pollinators, a lot of folks are concerned about those.
Right.
So this is very mosquito specific, and it's a great product.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. So is it a like a chemical type treatment?
Yeah. It's a trap. Almost looks like a plant pot.
Okay.
That it has water inside of it. There's chemical inside that water. There's also little yeast pills that go inside there that make it more attractive to the mosquitoes. And that the chemical that's in there both stops those eggs from turning into adults, and it will eventually kill the adult that lays the eggs there, but not immediately, because you want that break period between when they land in the trap and when they infect the other potential breeding sites around the property before they die themselves.
Right.
It's really
like
smart.
That. Yeah, that's interesting. Where was that created? Do you know?
It was created somewhere in Europe. I want to say.
Yeah.
I want to say like the Norway area, but I'm not 100% on that.
Doesn't the University of Florida do a lot in that agriculture space too?
Florida is huge, which you see my orange and blue colors. I graduated from Florida, have undergrad and MBA from there.
Nice.
But Florida is huge in the pest control world. I did not go there for pest control. I went there for business.
Yep.
I did not see myself in the pest control industry back then. Had no idea this was going to happen.
Yep.
But so I've been back for several courses at Florida. It's big time at Florida.
Yeah, big time. And Ben Hale Griffin, one of the biggest in the state of Florida. I guess used to be. I don't know if he still is, but friends of friends were friends with him growing up, and his family. But so you started off as a business degree? I was,
I was in outside sales in 2008 when the economy collapsed. And started looking for something that was a little bit more economy resistant, so to speak.
Yep.
I actually came across a job ad for a competitor. They did not hire me. The fact that I had a degree was kind of a joke to them. They didn't think I'd get my hands dirty.
Oh.
But the folks that did end up hiring me, that's primarily who they hired, were people that have degrees. And that's one of the reasons they're one of the biggest in the country, is because they're smart in their hiring processes.
Right.
So I went to work for them in the Orlando area, getting my hands dirty.
Yep.
Eventually became a manager with them and moved into the region management role, managing the Southeast for them before I stepped out on my own.
Nice. Very cool. And if you just joined us, we're talking with Brent Shiver here, Wildout Animal and Pest Removal here in Tampa Bay. Another great example of a small business owner right here in Tampa Bay. You support the local economy by supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show. Save our hotline number. Give us a call, 813-917-1894. You can call or text that line. It's an off-air number, 813-917-1894.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
Like little buttons here and there, Brent. But so you think about the business degree, right? Like that's young. A lot of times, when you're younger, you're just like, I don't know what I want to do. Just let me get a business degree, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of what I did. Business management, entrepreneurship, concentration. Never really thought at that age that I would be, in radio show, getting into real estate, that type of thing.
Sure.
But I just kind of knew business was a good, safe bet.
Yep. That was my thought process.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, business sounds good.
It applies to everything.
Yeah, exactly. So I live on Lake Tarpon, man. So there's, I don't know if you're
nice.
familiar with that area, man. It's these lake midges. So I guess it's some kind of a different type of breed,
tough.
but those things are, they are resilient. They're tough, and it's not all the time. It comes in waves, maybe like every 6 to 8 weeks, 12 weeks or something, and then you'll have major little, especially when that wind's blowing in your direction.
Right. Yeah. They just cover up the outside of your house.
Oh yeah, they get you. They get you pretty good from time to time. But we've got a misting system now, so that's really helped out a lot. Okay. But it's interesting. So as a homeowner in Florida, you're either going to have some type of a flying or animal coming underneath, trying to dig through, or getting into your home.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about how you help people, from that perspective. Keeping the insects out, the critters out, and then foolproof. Kind of, what's the word there for your home? Like to make your home impenetrable, right?
Well, yeah, that's ultimately our goal. It is not it's not to necessarily kill things, even though we are required to do a lot of that. We want to prevent problems, so we don't have to kill things.
Right.
We want to keep the bugs, keep the animals out of the house to begin with. Take out what's in there if stuff is in there, but seal up houses in such a way that impenetrable would be awesome. Mm-hmm. It's highly unlikely.
Right.
Even if we close up a house and sealed every gap and crack, every box that you bring in potentially brings in bugs with it. And think about how many shipments everybody gets these days from Amazon and all these other places. my wife has got something at the door every single day.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
if she doesn't, I do. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But so it's always a problem no matter what we do. But that's really is our goal, is to prevent the problems as much as we can to rather than be reactive about them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So tell us a little about, you had mentioned some interesting stories, some potential for stories. Tell us some of your recent stories or success stories that you've had.
Well, the most recent one we had, I was just on vacation last week, so just before I left there, I had the opportunity to do a property in the Fishhawk area that had bat infestations in multiple townhomes. They have 9 townhomes, and they were all infested. And being able to help those people, especially in an environment like that they don't have control of their property. The management company does. They own their property, but they don't really control it. So they get lost, and it's frustrating to have living beings that are not paying rent inside your house, and you hear things and smells that come with that and so forth. So
man.
Being able to address a problem like that on a larger scale, it's just a lot of fun. It's very rewarding. And the sentence we get all the time is, "I'm so glad you were here. I hope I never see you again." Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. Nice to see you. Hopefully it'll be another 5 years.
That's right. Yeah.
So that was for bats, right?
Yeah, bats.
So that a lot of times you think about those, you think about the movies or whatnot, but in Florida we have a version of bat. It's a smaller type of bat. Is that right?
Most of our bats are pretty small. Mm-hmm. At least the ones that invade houses. Most of what invades houses here are the Mexican or Brazilian free-tail bats. It's the same thing, just 2 different names.
Yeah.
They're very small. I mean, fully expanded wing to wing is 6 inches or so. Mm-hmm. And bats are fully protected. We can't do anything to harm bats, and we would never want to. They're good to have. They're good pest control themselves. Mm-hmm. But so we create a one-way door. We kick them out, and we seal up the structure so they can't get back in again.
Yeah, interesting. And are I've heard also some people will actually put like a birdhouse out by the waterways and the bats will actually eat so many, per their weight, in like flying insects and stuff.
Right. Yeah. So wow. There are bat houses out there. We have customers that regularly ask us about installing them.
Yeah.
And I do it.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it. I just don't see them take up residency there very often in the consumer environment, the commensal environment, so to speak. So a place like that around a lake, absolutely, they're looking for some place. But if they have an attic to live in,
right.
Why are they going to go live in a little bitty bat house?
Right.
So
they want the big house.
Right.
All right.
So unless everything's closed up, there's no sense in putting the bat house up.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, good stuff. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back more with Brent Shiver here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Wildout Animal and Pest Removal on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to talk a little bit more about his company, how he can serve you and your home and your friends and neighbors here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Coming up as well, we've got Kurt Kennedy, loan originator. I'm going to ask Kurt about the market, what he sees going on in the real estate market, the mortgage industry as well. We're going to talk about some products that can help you too, 2-1 buy downs and some other ideas happening there. Plus, feel good story of the day. Find out about this Marine veteran that was gifted a new vehicle to resume his service to disabled veterans and children. We'll be right back here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you've been listening to the phenomenal Brandon Rhymes, the Consumer Quarterback Show.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. We're powered by the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. I want to give a shout out to our friends at Discovery Golf Cars, longtime friends of the program. They hooked us up with a beautiful Keller Williams red golf cart, and they've got lots of makes and models to choose from. Easy Go, Star EV, Cushman. They offer new and pre-owned. You can also rent or buy. You can check them out online, discoverygolfcars.com, and make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Talk to Ethan or Marty. Tell them the Real Estate Quarterback Show sent you, and take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got Brent Shiver in studio here, Wildout Animal and Pest Removal on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to talk more with him in just a moment. Going to wrap up this talk about bats and then the mosquitoes. But before we do, I wanted to let you know about a couple of our hot listings here in Tampa Bay. We got a hot listing at 202 Westchester Hills. Beautiful property here in Tampa Bay. This is a single-family home with a pool in Hillsborough County, 202 Westchester Hills. Beautiful home. You've got a saltwater heated pool pool screened enclosure, 3,500 square foot, 5 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2-car garage, situated on a cul-de-sac. Beautiful pool screened enclosure, stainless steel appliances, granite countertops, and you got a brand new roof and AC units and granite countertops, wood cabinetry. Beautiful home at 202 West Chester Hills Lane in Valrico, Florida. One of our hot listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. All right, got another listing here at 16400 Gulf Boulevard. We've got a beautiful beachfront, waterfront condo here on the beach. 16400 Gulf Boulevard, North Reddington. It's in Pinellas County on the Gulf of Mexico. You are beachfront. Have you ever wanted to have a beach rental or a weekend getaway? Something you could maybe put a renter in there and make some passive income. 400 square foot condo. Ceramic tile, covered balcony, and your balcony overlooks the pool and the Gulf of Mexico. Beautiful paradise home here. Pool and beach access. Excellent vacation rental. Hot property listing from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Brent Shiver, back to Brent. So, Brent, let's wrap up a little bit of that talk that we were having about bats. So sometimes, they are nuisance animals. You got to be careful. Some of the downside of them, too, I heard, is that, if you do happen to get bit by one, they can carry some pretty gnarly, diseases and whatnot.
They can, yeah. Bats are our rabies vector, bit or scratched. You don't have to be bit necessarily. And they are actually the number one killer when it comes to rabies, because you can get bit or scratched and not know about it.
Wow.
Almost everything else that carries rabies, you're going to know if you get bit by a dog or
right.
a coyote or something like that.
Yeah.
But bats will get into people's houses, end up in their bed with them at night. They roll over on top of them. They wake up the next day with a scratch they don't even know they have.
Wow.
2 weeks later, they're symptomatic, and it's almost 100% fatal at that point.
Wow. Have you had clients that have had that issue?
I've had them with them inside the house.
Wow.
Fortunately, I've not had any clients that have tested positive for rabies. If there's a chance that they've even been contacted, we do recommend they go to the county health department and get tested and or go ahead and get shots.
Right. Yeah. Wow. That's interesting, man. All right. So we're talking with Brent Shiver here, one of our expert contributors on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Wildout Animal and Pest Removal on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Mosquito. Let's talk about it, because you were talking about mosquitoes. I think that's one of the biggest things that we face here in Tampa Bay, especially seasonal. We talked a little bit about, but kind of tell me a little bit more about your mosquito service there.
Yeah. Well, we have the mosquito services can be multi-pronged, but the main thing that we're offering is it's an N2 care system. It's the trap I'm talking about that looks like the pot. We do it for Cambridge Christian School, and we've had tremendous amount of success there. They have a bad mosquito problem. If you've ever been on their campus, they have like a retention pond on campus. They have a deck with water underneath that holds water underneath it all the time. It's pretty rough, and like I said, it's not foolproof, but we've had a tremendous impact there and made it much more comfortable for those kids to be able to, and the parents when they're on campus, to be able to walk around there. Yeah. But I do want to offer the Consumer Quarterback listeners a discount.
Cool.
It's really on the initial part of the service. Normally that price is $250 per trap to put out. We're going to do it for $125, and then the ongoing services are $100 for the first trap, $50 for each additional trap after that. Most residential properties are good with 2. Sometimes you might need 3, but most places are good with 2.
Well, thanks for doing that. Thanks for offering a discount to our listeners out there. We greatly appreciate that. Reach out to the hotline if you want to take Brent up on that offer. Mosquito service half off, 813-917-1894. You can call or text the hotline, 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. You can submit an email form there. It'll come right to us, and we'll get you, of course, in touch with Brent and his team. So offering a half off discount for the mosquito service. Would that work on a lake like that, like Lake Tarpon? I mean, is that something you would drop in the water and it kind of affect that whole area there?
Yeah, well, I mean, we wouldn't drop it in the lake itself.
Oh, no.
I mean, I wouldn't do any treatments. First of all, that body of water is way too big.
Right.
It's kind of not still enough. Mosquitoes want a very still body of water. So you're looking more at puddles. You're looking at, tires, pots, things around the house that will hold water. If you have those things around your yard, just tip them off every once in a while.
Right.
That'll do a tremendous amount to control the mosquitoes yourself.
Right.
But, these pots they're set separately in a shaded area. not a spot where it's going to be really visible and deter you or disturb you when you're outdoors.
Right.
But then it will help with all those other areas as well.
Right. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. So what are some other top, consumer tips? The Consumer Quarterback Show, we used to call it the Real Estate Quarterback Show. And it's, of course, the Consumer Quarterback Show now because it's that consumer advocate approach. Everything we do is about the consumer in mind. So what would be, maybe your next questions that you get or your topics that you get? What's a good consumer tip?
Well, one of the main things that we have a problem with here in Tampa Bay is rats. They're because we have the ports here. They come all the time. They reproduce really quickly. First of all, I would tell people, do not be embarrassed if you have a rat problem. It does not matter how clean your house is, how big your house is, how small your house is. None of that stuff comes into play in a rat's mind. He doesn't care.
Yep.
It's just, is there's a safe place for me to hang out and not get eaten by something else? That's all he's looking for.
Right.
So don't feel bad about it. Don't be embarrassed about it. It's no big deal. But try to be preventive about it. Rats are small enough that they can infect and be in your house and you not even hear them up there. Yeah. And then it becomes a big problem because 2 mated rats can turn into 1,200 mated rats in a year's time. Wow. And that's not something you want on your property. So if you're not 100% sure, just have us come out. We do a free inspection. We're not going to charge you.
Free inspections.
Yeah, and we'll take a look at it. And if there's something we can instruct you to do as the consumer, we're happy to do that. If there's something that requires our intervention, obviously, we're happy to do that as well.
Excellent. All right, good stuff. How can they find you online? What's your best websites and all?
We have a website. It's wildremoval.com. www.wildremoval.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just search out Wildout Animal and Pest Removal, and you'll find us. Cool.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, hey, thanks for all the great insights. Thanks for offering that half off to our audience there for the mosquito treatment. And until the next time.
Absolutely.
All right, buddy. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, Kurt Kennedy, Keller Mortgage on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to have a fun conversation around things happening in the real estate space. There's a lot of misinformation out there that you find with the mainstream media. They talk about, doom and gloom, and it's not all that. It's still low inventory market here in Tampa Bay. We'll be right back. More with Kurt Kennedy coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.